So, welcome all to session one of Belvedere's next adventure in Wildemount. We begin our journey in Exandria. For those who are familiar with it, we will head almost as far east as east will go, to the great plains of Igrathad within the Jorhassian Empire. Here, the plains are named for a host of villages who once feuded with each other, the remnants of the calamity long before, only starting more recent history to get along. Eventually, they became known to all aware of them as the many hosts of Igrathad. Here, these seven villages live separately, but together. Each represents a leader of sorts in a council of elders who make all impacting decisions that affect the whole of the villages. On your map, each yellow dot representing a town. In the center, just above the words, is where we begin our journey. You may see the stilted village, a goblin village, Bad. This village is currently where a council meeting is being held. So, some of you were here yesterday. Some of you had witnessed as discussions had escalated between a large bugbear and a boisterous half-orc. A duel quickly escalated, even before the two could be directed to the fighting pits. Whispers have spread of the reason for this council. A plea had been received at Crenad from the small village near the edge inside the Vermalock Wildwoods, asking for aid. Cordic, the leader of Crenad, had called on the many hosts to send aid to them. Others here felt that was too strong, that there was no reason, too many unknowns, like the leader of a Ruth, or that resources or the risk would be too great to send so far through the dangers of Jorhas. That they should require this village to accept aid from the Kryn dynasty. So, this second day of the meeting of the council is now beginning. You find yourselves amongst the crowd, watching, waiting, listening, for whatever your reasons, as the council meeting begins. You see as a very large, muscular bugbear with thick brown-gray hair, tufty ears, and a thick brow enters the circle once more. Whispers echo Cordic to any who do not already know him. At his side, a drow has almost black cherry skin and long white hair that falls past her shoulders. His mate, and a lady, Olios. A few more whispers are heard, but most know of her, at least, as the representative to the Kryn in Crenad, the Lady of Crenad. She has a gentle face with purple eyes like vibrant amethysts. Even in this low light, her eyes shine very brightly. With them, she pulls forwards another. His identity is obvious to most. A leaf bugbear, fur of sleek charcoal, black with a faint silvery sheen, and blending into deep black limbs. The skin underneath is a deep dusky hue, ashen gray visibly on his palms, his nose, and ears, reminiscent of drow coloration. His eyes glow with a faint violet, reminiscent of his mother as well. His ears are elongated and slightly pointed like a drow's, giving him a mystical quality to the normal bugbear's build. Cordic nods to Lady Oleos, and she smiles assuringly to their son. As he begins to speak, we meet here to answer a call and ask for aid. There is no benefit. That may be true, but we also know the harshness and the dangers of this land beyond our borders. We too were divided long ago, but united together as one. For it is because of that that we are all here again today. It is my father's right as victor now to declare the council's decision on this matter, but blood has been spilt. And so he will not declare for others to do what they were against. I am offering you another solution today, that we let Igrathad decide fate for itself. We offer it to the wilds, who their champions will be in this. I ask only the aid of those gathered here with the council that are willing to aid in the asking to come step forward and do so. He looks to his mother and his father, who nod their approval, and circles to the other leaders and representatives within the circle and nods to them slightly. His mother reaches a hand up towards a younger drow next to whom she was standing. The representative to Broombaba, the goblin leader, Zorth, nods to the young drow woman waiting for his approval before stepping forwards to join them. As Cordic's gaze circles the crowd, a bugbear shaman from the Cranad host steps into the circle beside the blaze well. Across the circle, another drow near the host of Oshinika meets Lady Oilios's eyes and steps forwards, entering the circle. Zorth growls something to the elders around him. The goblin's growl is highlighted by that of his moorbounder companion, and 3 of the goblin seers enter the circle in answer, joining them. Within the circle now stands the Unithi monarch and another Knoll shaman, the Hill Queen, the keeper of the crowns, and others from Rathfall, including their Kryn representative. The crowd is completely silent as the ritual of shamans begins. The air around, still dim, grows heavy and ionized, and lights glow on the edge of fog clouds. You realize you are somewhere else, no longer with the gathered hosts, somewhere small and isolated, yet vast and filled with whispers and moving shadows. You step into a wide, serene clearing surrounded by a canopy. A kaleidoscope of fuchsia and crimson casts dappled, otherworldly light over a circle of ancient, moss-covered stones. You may feel yourself move to are at its center now. Now radiating outward from this pedestal are 15 shrines, each distinct, yet all sharing an air of reverence and timelessness. A faint hum fills the air, resonating with the whispers of land calling you. It is as if the spirits themselves are watching and waiting. First, you see a tall, weathered spire, its peak crowned with floating shards of storm glass. Faint lights, like lightning, dance across its surface, as if the air around it is charged with energy. The second, a living tree grown into a perfect arch, its bark carved with depictions of leaves, animals, and seasons. A soft green light pulses gently from under its thick, sinking roots. Next, a circular stone brazier containing a flame that burns with a steady, pale blue light. The heat is gentle but constant, radiant, resilient. The next is a smooth, reflective pool encircled by polished stones. The water ripples faintly despite the still air around it, whispering secrets to those who listen closely. The next is a sharp, angular obelisk of black stone, etched with intricate feather-like patterns. A faint hum of wind surrounds it, as if those wings are beating nearby. The next is a sturdy stone slab carved with images of mountains, shields, and protective runes. It feels immovable, as though rooted in the earth itself, yet sinking. The earth shows the wear for bearing it. The next is a crystalline pillar, its surface reflecting light into countless rainbows. The air around it looks bright and inviting, as if promising guidance. A subtle, delicate weave of silver strands stretched between two dark stone spires is the next, hinting at unseen connections between them. The next is a wooden altar adorned with carvings of grains, of fruit, of vines. Offerings of fresh produce and woven baskets are placed reverently all around it. The next, a rough-hewn stone anvil, faintly warm, glowing with embers embedded into its surface. It radiates strength and craftsmanship and an iron will to forge your own destiny. The next shrine is a flowing fountain, shaped like a tree. Its branches extend into the air while water cascades gently into a glowing basin below. The sounds of flowing water are soothing. Next, a spiraled wooden pillar, polished smooth and etched with flowering patterns. A pastel breeze swirls around it, carrying soft whispers. The next is a moss-covered statue of a frog, its three wide eyes gleaming with an otherworldly light. Tiny flowered moss and long-stemmed cattails grow at its base, giving it a serene and mystic aura. Next stands a dark stone effigy, coiled like a serpent, crested with deep-set emeralds like eyes, eyes gleaming with malice. The air here feels heavy and charged with hidden dangers. Finally, as you come to the end of the circle, you see a twisted wooden effigy, its form almost human, but unnervingly distorted, exuding a faint aura of cold unease. Faint whispers echo from unseen sources. You are standing in a clearing, buried in fog. You are on a stone pedestal in the center. You are alone. Around you stands these 15 shrines.
You see before you a forest gnome dressed in greenish tinted leathers, and even his hair has a slight greenish tint to it, but it's mostly brown. And he stands there curiously looking around, wondering what sort of mischief he can get into.
So, Pim, as you were standing, staring at each of these shrines, one of them is calling you. Which?
They're all
Pim.
calling to me.
They're not. The rest are fading.
Well, don't go. I want to know you all. Him is a very curious gnome, and he kind of felt like all of them were calling him.
You watch as your gaze chases to each and every one of these shrines. The fog begins to overtake them, the blackness creeping in as you trace this circle around the clock, as if time itself is running you down.
And
Each
I hate
shrine
going first.
disappears,
Uh,
disappears,
I go to
disappears,
the most solid one,
disappears.
and I
You
go to that one.
are gone. They're all gone. You panic. You step from the pedestal. There's nothing there.
Roll a
Your
new
vast,
character.
empty, black.
well, I was gonna ask if I could act before he completely loses it.
You're not there. He's alone.
Oh, I'm not there at all. Okay, okay, never mind.
No,
No.
it's black. Everything is gone, Pim. Everything is gone. Your indecision has left you abandoned and lost. Just like always, always. You know this feeling. You've tried to run from it your whole life. And just like now, it's too late.
Oh, well,
Give
this isn't
me
good.
a
Hello?
D20 roll, please.
Ooh,
Let's call it
it's
a
cocked.
perception check.
Perception. Ooh, 23.
23. Just as the fear of being lost and isolated and alone takes hold, you do remember you have been here before your whole life. You've overcome it. And as you look around curiously at the emptiness before you, you see a light, and then another, and then another. And as you focus on one of these lights in the distance, it becomes brighter, more focused, white. And you feel as it draws towards you, wide eyed, bigger and bigger and bigger. And as you stare into this light, you see the endlessness of everything. And with that, our camera shifts.
Yes. You see a 6 foot tall man with a solid build, not incredibly strong, but toned. Uh, Wearing a fur vest with no shirt, and just some regular slacks. Uh, Around his waist is too many things hanging. There's a rope, a bear trap, some manacles, multiple small packages and like pouches, and a very weird pointy stick. Um, in his hand, he just has a flask as he's just sitting there waiting and drinking, just waiting for his moment.
Okay. And as you stand on this pedestal and see these shrines surrounding you, which one is calling you?
I'm going to the flowing fountain shaped like a tree.
As you approach, the gentle murmur of flowing water grows louder, blending with the rustle of leaves and the distant calls of wildlife. Nestled within a grove, a fountain shaped like a tree stands tall, its stone branches reaching skyward. Water cascades gracefully from the branches into a glowing basin below. The surface shimmers with an ethereal light that reflects the stars, even in daylight. Smooth water carved stones encircle the fountain. The air is cool and damp, carrying a faint metallic tang of fresh water. The shrine radiates a sense of calm and interconnectedness, as though it binds the land, its inhabitants, and the rivers into one harmonious whole until the water begins to overflow and the surface goes cloudy. What do you do?
Can I collect some of the water? I'll just try and
Yeah,
like,
you bend forward. How are you collecting it?
hmm, bit of a waste. I'll just kind of pour what's left of the flask on the ground really quick, take a swig for the rest, and then try and get some in. But as that starts to fill, and I assume the water keeps going, I'll just hand in, sniff, take a drink.
Give me a nature check, please.
A nature check. Why would I be good at nature checks? Let's see.
You can give me an investigation check if you would prefer.
Oh, honestly, that would have been the same. I rolled an overwhelming 6.
Good six.
Over one. There's something different to this water than any you've encountered before. It's strange because you have encountered more possibilities and more states in water than most ever have opportunity to experience, but you can't place it. And as you dip your hand once more, the ripples almost begin to speak to you. Life is a fountain. We're one in the water, but one again after the fall. When we lose ourselves, we find it all. Our camera then shifts.
What we see is he a tiefling, but he doesn't look like he's not an obvious tiefling. He doesn't have horns or anything visible through his beautiful Jamie Lannister head of hair. He is where he doesn't you can't really tell what he's wearing. He just seems to have this shimmering black mist that kind of swirls around him at all times, and it tricks the eyes as to what is beneath it. The only thing that you can really make out with him is, although his eyes have a glow to them, they're also completely dead and devoid of anything of interest. They just, if you looked at them, you'd go, "Oh, this guy is freaky." If you saw him in real life,
Tell us as you stand on this pedestal surrounded by these shrines, which one do you see? Which one is calling you?
he focuses on the slab with is it like a motif sort of thing on it, and he would find himself like almost subconsciously just walking straight towards it, like he was almost hypnotized by it.
As you approach, the ground beneath your feet grows firmer, as though anchoring you in place. Before you stands a broad stone slab, its surface etched with carvings of mountains, shields, and intricate protective runes. The stone radiates a quiet, unyielding strength, as if it has stood here for countless ages, weathered all that time and nature have thrown at it. Roots wind up from the sunken earth around it to embrace the base of the slab, their grip as steadfast as the stone itself. The air is heavy and still, filled with a faint, earthy scent. It is as if this shrine is breathing slowly, grounding you in its presence. It is both pulling you in, yet strengthening your bearing.
Adam sees this and a memory starts to come back to him, and he starts to shake. He realizes he's seen this before, and he definitely would not have remembered it had you described it to him, but seeing it in real life, he's been at this exact shrine. He has seen it. He is very sure of it, and it has shaken him to his core.
Roll me a history check, please.
That's a 14.
It's a 14. Okay. You remember it. You can see it clear as day. It's not all there yet, but the memory is there. You reach forward, begin to look, and there are worn and weather runes along its bottom rim, barely visible through age and through the dirt. But the runes you remember are there. You read them. Strength is not in the weight you bear, but in the will to carry it. Prove your resolve. And with that, we shift our view.
Oh. You'll see a hobgoblin, but very distinct to most of the hobgoblins. Like he's got like a shot. He's got like a his hair's kind of like standing almost like on point, like brown hair. Mutton chops are not a bit. They're not out of place for a hobgoblin. Serious look on his face. Tall, not overly tall, maybe about 6 feet as well. Muscular, not overly muscular, like a sturdy build, but more athletic, more like a swimmer's body. He seems to be at ease with the way he walks, unlike maybe other hobgoblins, so like a bit more grounded. His eyes kind of like his amber eyes kind of dart between these pillars, and for a moment he kind of hovers on the anvil, but then with a light steps he approaches. Curious. Smooth, reflective pool.
All right. So, as you begin to approach, the remaining shrines fade out of existence. The air cools, carrying a faint scent of fresh rain and salt. Before you lies a shallow pool of water, its surface encircled by smooth, polished stones that glimmer faintly in the light. The pool is perfectly still, save for faint ripples that seem to originate from nowhere, dancing across its surface, mesmerizing patterns. The water reflects the sky above. The surrounding altars still stand there, and even now, your own image. Yet, the reflection is not entirely clear. There are moments when it seems clouded, as though something unseen stirs beneath it. The faint sound of raindrops fill the air, soft and melodic, growing like the murmur of a distant tide. You are underwater, standing up through the surface that is the pool.
I think he doesn't feel too overwhelmed by it. It's almost like he's at ease in this kind of environment. Curious, eyes darting around, but not
Yeah,
panicking.
give me a perception check.
9.
The stones, they're not smooth. There's something there.
He will draw closer, examine it curiously.
Okay, how are you examining it?
Can he like reach out towards it, or is it too far from him?
No, you can touch them, absolutely.
Yeah. I think he will try and feel them out and kind of get a tactile kind of
I will
experience.
take a sleight of hand or investigation, unless you by chance can speak Braille or something.
Not sure if thieves can't count as braille, probably not. Oh wow. Off to a great start. Well, it makes sense he doesn't know braille on that one. For
What did you roll?
sleight of hand. That one.
That one for sleight of hand. Okay.
Indeed.
You run your fingers across these stones hidden within the fog of the pool. They seem like simple symbols that maybe is a flowing river, the next shaped like a wave. There's something you're missing, but you're not sure what. Our view shifts.
You see a goblin, young looking goblin, late teens, you'd think. 4.5 foot tall, very muscular, dressed in obviously handmade leather armor that's been pieced together. Standing there looking a little bit bewildered.
You know where this pedestal is. Which of those shrines were you looking for? Which one calls to you?
He heads to Shrine 3.
So, as you look at the stone, feeling part of it, something calls. A radiating resilience. Your focus shifts, and you see as the air kind of grows warmer, you begin to step. Each step grows warmer. A faint scent of smoke and charred wood begins to swirl around you. Before you stands a jagged altar of blackened stone, its surface streaked with veins of molten orange that pulse like the heartbeat of the earth. At its center, an eternal flame flickers, impossibly vibrant, shifting between shades of crimson, gold, and blue. The fire seems to dance to its own rhythm, casting shadows that twist and wreath across the ground. The area hums with energy, alive with the crackling of flames and the low, steady rumble of distant embers. Heat radiates outwards, not scorching, but intense enough to make you acutely aware of its power. The flame feels alive, watching, waiting, and as you draw nearer, it almost seems to lean towards you, inviting your presence. Along the edge of the stone brazier, a series of intricate carvings depict scenes of creation and of destruction, of fires that forge and of fires that consume. Between the carvings shifting with the fire's glow and the molten veins. There is something more there.
He feels that heat, and it feels very much like the rage that burns within her. And she leans in to see if she can figure out what's calling her, what's drawing the attention.
You can give me an insight check, or you can let that rage take over you. Which would you prefer?
She starts to let that rage build and then fights it down. This is not the way. This is not what she's been shown, how she's been taught. So she'll make the insight check.
Okay. As you lean against this brazier, the intensity growing, your first urge is to push back with that same intensity. The fire flares up, almost an answer. And as you calm, the flames calm, the heat radiating through, and something between the carvings begins to glow. You read, "From the flame, all things begin, and all things end. What will you ignite?" And with that, our view shifts back to Pim. You are staring into this light. What do you do?
Pim scratches his forehead and as he does it, he feels a little bump there, but thinks it's nothing. And then he strides toward the light.
As you stride towards the light, you feel a sense of renewal, of hope, as if promising a second chance to those who seek it. You feel a connection, almost a shared emotion that speaks to you. Use the light. All cycles converge. Align the threads and find clarity in the internal. You stare in this light and see as all of the internal eternities, endless, begin to scale out, where before the light there was a vastness of emptiness. Within the light, a vastness of unimaginable possibilities. There's something it's waiting for. What would you like to do?
How close am I to the light?
You're staring within. All sense of your body barely there. Your mind exists within this light now. All you see is scattered stars. They burst. A new one over here you see as another fades out, another emerges. There's that renewal, that hope that keeps resonating within you.
Pim will smile and look at the stars form, the multiverses form, and that sort of thing. And in true gnome fashion, he's going to try to leap into the light out of curiosity.
As you let your mind fall into this light, what are your thoughts?
So pretty. I wish Sir could see this. Oh man, this is. Oh, I can't wait to. I wonder what's on that one or that one. Or, wow, this is awesome. Sir!
Here, without your body in that emptiness, you feel the presence of Sir. You feel the presence of this other. You see the emptiness, the light that is born, the light that grows and expands, and each that disappears, giving way for new lights to grow. There is a ever turning cycle here, a cycle of life and death and rebirth through light. Our view shifts back to Duncan.
Am I still in that same spot with the fountain, or
You're with the water. You hear the whispers. The fountain is trying to give you something, but also needing something from you.
well, based on my past, uh, when I need to make an exchange, it's most likely going to be one or two things. Uh, so I'll try both. I'm going to take what little actual money I have on me. Uh, you know what? Screw it. Uh, all 5 gold I'm going to put in. But before I do that, I'm going to take a dagger out and cut my hand and just kind of get the blood on the coins and just kind of put them into the fountain after taking one last sip.
All right. Roll me a d4, please. You take
It's a 4.
4 slashing damage.
Okay.
As you soak each coin in your blood, you drop one after another into the basin of this fountain below the tree. As each hits the ground, there's a ripple. The red mixes with the cloudiness, and as the ripple cascades out, the water becomes clearer with each gold coin. With the last one, the water is clear. The water is calm. You hear the wind swirl around you, the shifting. The stone of the tree fountain is changing. And with that, we will shift back. The words you had heard: prove your resolve.
And is that something he's supposed to act upon? Because he's, as I sort of said, he's feeling really frozen, almost paralyzed, with a mixture of sadness and fear mostly.
Yeah. Adam has had a strange few days, uh, wandering aimlessly, looking for direction, looking for someone to tell him what to do.
And so far, the
It is
closest he's
being asked
come,
of you.
the closest he's come is a bugbear who told him to shut up and not go far. So he has so far just shut up and not gone far.
And now this stone telling you to prove your resolve.
I guess he thinks about this, and it probably takes him a good minute of just being there, absolutely frozen, waiting, just absolutely waiting for either proper instruction to come from a certain source or for a knife to just plunge right through his back and end his suffering.
Give
But
me an insight or a persuasion roll, please.
that's interesting. Okay, I'm going to go to that. I'm not sure what I'm persuading, but let's try that. Ooh, didn't help. 11.
As you contemplate the stone in front of you, the image, you're drawn back to the earth around it, the immensity of the stone seeping into the earth that holds it. The challenge is to lift or move the stone in some way, a task that appears very daunting, even impossible at first. However, it is a test and may not be purely about physical strength, but a burden of past struggles and the resilience required to face the future.
He is for he's after his indecision starts to fade, it is replaced by this a rage where he kind of doesn't know what he's doing for a moment. He sort of loses control and he pulls out a dagger and just starts slashing at the vines around the bottom. And then after a moment he gets fed up of using that and instead just starts shooting out this black energy out of his hands just over and over, just sending it at these vines to try and break them to see if he can, get rid of whatever is holding this altar in place. Because now he just feels this overarching urge not to move it to prove himself, but actually to try and destroy the altar completely.
Okay. So these blasts of energy and this frustration begin to unfold. We will shift.
I assume he's where you left him, like still
He is.
water. Yes. Yeah, can't make sense of what's happening, but he's not enjoying it. Can he try and read like what's there? Like he try to feel it, but could he try and see what it is? I don't know if that makes
The
sense.
water is foggy, so you can't see
Nope.
through the surface. What would you like to do?
Does it look like there's a surface, or is it just like eternal water? Does it look like, how like there's light above you? Like, is it like that, or is it like just fog?
Above the pool
Hmm.
is blackness and emptiness. in the reflection of the pool, you saw the stars, you saw the shrines, you saw yourself.
He maybe can't see anything. I think he would perhaps try and swim upwards towards the blackness.
Do you have a swim speed?
In his dreams, he does.
Give me an athletics check, please.
16.
16. Okay. You begin to treat the air like water and swim high above the shrine. Everything is shifted. You feel the pressure begin to pulse in your mind and in your ears as you are in fact swimming deeper below the surface. And as you continue to swim further and further away, the surface begins to calm as you begin to float back to the surface. The words around the edge begin to clarify. In stillness, clarity. In turbulence, distortion. In calm waters, the truth shall be revealed. And with that, we shift.
Leary's thinking. She's going through her head. What will I ignite? What will I ignite? And on her hip, she's got 2 horns. And she lifts one out, blows a long, strong note. You'd almost think it was defiance. She cries out vengeance. And she grabs her great axe, shoves it into the brazier, and casts searing smite through it. Try and fan those flames, fuel the flames.
You slam your axe into the fire. It almost snuffs out. And as it catches, and as you focus that rage, not letting it control you, but you control it, the fire bursts forth instead of moving towards you, almost moving at your will. We'll shift back to Pim. You see as the lights begin to converge into this single focused beam, it begins to glow brighter and brighter. Symbols around begin to pulse with this light. And you watch as your mind shifts out and you see this orb descending, bathing you with this warm golden radiance. The air fills with a melodic hum, and the voice, the cycle it represents, echoes softly. In every ending, a beginning. In every shadow, a light. Carry this truth and let it guide you. The light from the orb washes out over you, filling you with a sense of purpose. You've absorbed this light, the warmth within. It is now a part of you. This beacon has given you some sort of a blessing or a boon. Our vision shifts back to Duncan. You find yourself nestled within a grove, standing on a stone at the center of this pool where you just left your blood, left your coin. Just above the surface, a lush vermalock tree stands tall, the tree shifting, its deep mauve branches reaching skyward. Water now cascading gracefully from beyond in its branches, glittering into the river below. Its surface shimmering with an ethereal light. It reflects the stars, your own reflection, shimmering like liquid light. You have restored the heart, it whispers to you. As it flows, so shall you lead, guide with clarity, and unite as the waters do. Your reflection fades. You see a faintly glowing sigil on your actual hand. It resembles the flowing currents of the water. The mark feels warm to your touch. It pulses faintly with the rhythm of the river. This mark might surely be recognized by the many hosts of Igrathad, who will treat you as an ally, unless, of course, you do something to turn a member hostile. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm just kind of looking at the mark, wondering if it's permanent.
It does not seem to be. You sense you have been given some sort of a boon or a charm.
I was looking to get another tattoo.
Our vision shifts to Adam. Adam, as the last bits of this root and tree disappear, the stone the ground beneath it begins to tremble slightly of instability. The vibration spreads outward, reinforcing the earth around the shrine. The roots entwined with the stone begin to splinter and dissipate, the glow retreating into the ground. From the carvings on the stone slab, an earthen brilliance emerges, outlining the mountains and the shields. The stone emits a deep, resonant hum, as if the earth itself is speaking. The voice is steady and low, resonating in your bones. You have shown the strength. May your path be as steadfast as the mountains and unyielding as the earth beneath your feet. The altar cracks and splinters, leaving a gape, revealing you the way forwards. The brilliance and contrast grows as the world around you opens up. Your mind, your body become fortified. You feel more vibrant, confident in yourself.
Adam gets a moment after he when the altar cracks, he immediately comes out of his, rage, that for want of a better word, that he was in. And he looks around and sees the world opening up and his obvious path forward. And he stands a little taller than he has in a long time, though he doesn't realize he's doing it. And he strides forward.
Whether it is seen as a boon or a blessing from the shrine, or something awakened within yourself, you may be able to use this confident spark. Our vision shifts back to Regal. As you float back up towards the surface.
I think Rago will be pondering the words that he just kind of saw. His interest is peaked. He doesn't know what's happening, but he's having a good time.
As you break the surface, the water around you begins to twist, almost this plasmoid-like tentacle of flowing, shimmering liquid stretches out, wraps around you. You hear a voice, soft yet resonant, like the ebb and flow of the tide. You have brought calm to the chaos and clarity to distortion. Take this gift and let it guide you through the storms ahead. And as it pulls away and dissolves back into a pool before you, the water, gentle, leaves behind a glowing droplet of clear water, cooling and soothing, just at the center of your forehead before fading into your skin. You feel this charm or boon. Aliri, we return to you. The fires that you have spread forwards, the flames again roar to life, growing impossibly tall and bright. For a moment, it feels as though the world before you has been consumed by fire, but there is no fear, only warmth, clarity. As the fire again begins to shrink, it coalesces into a single fiery figure. Its form is humanoid but indistinct, its body composed entirely of residual flickering flame. It bows its head in acknowledgement, a voice crackling like burning wood. It speaks. You have faced the fire and found your strength. Take this gift and let it ignite your courage in the trials ahead. It offers you a fragment of its flame. An ember no larger than a coin settles into your hand, warm and pulsing with power. The sprite dwindles out of sight.
Lovely. She grabs her war horn and blows a blast of praise to her goddess and kind of like bows towards the brazier where the sprite was.
Perfect. So you, as well as the rest of you, watch as the shrine fades. You are frozen in nothingness until at last you are left. And to your right, you see blurs of color, almost silhouettes of others staring forwards. Massive roots begin to branch out between you, tall, separating you, then dig and stretch through the earth like veins. You feel the roots connection to you, sharing your past, memories, or the challenges you faced. Foundations of the earth hold you as if on solid ground. At the root's origin, a thick trunk takes the shape, solid and towering, present and strengthening in your newfound purpose. It calls to you to reach your hand. You feel a unity with, you feel it spreading, growing, and expanding. You see branches reach out in every direction, twisting and exploring many paths and possible outcomes, an uncertain future. But as you let your influences flow through your connection, as if by you combined, these branches pierce the sky with a purpose. The tree glows faintly, and the crimson leaves shimmer with strange light. It pushes back the emptiness as burgundies and maroons spread through the world around, becoming restored. Before you, an ancient vermaloc tree deep within the wildwoods. You sense it. A voice? A thought through the rustling leaves? A distant feeling? But it speaks. Though you walk different paths, your fates are entwined in this moment. Together, you will shape what is yet to come, whether you wish it or not. As one, each of you open your eyes. The tree now gone. You stand in a circle, facing each other.